What's up, Taiwan? I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Figures released by Taiwan's government showed a widening wage gap in the country. In 2022, the bottom 10% of earners made less than $10,000 a year, while the top 10% earned over 4 times that amount. The gap is the largest in 5 years. The median annual salary in Taiwan was close to $16,500, which is a 4-year high. Experts say the COVID-19 pandemic meant people working in the service sector earned less. At the same time, demand for consumer electronics meant higher pay for people in tech industries. Taiwan is holding its first Design Week in Taipei. The event is held around the world and aims to showcase distinctive local designs. Yu Jinhuang has more details.
30 seconds of songs from Mexico, paired with these themes. They're showcasing Mexican designs with Taiwan in mind. These installations are a part of Taiwan's first Design Week. The expo is held in cities around the world to highlight the works of local designers. And it's also an opportunity for exchanges between host countries and global designers. This time, 5 countries answered Taiwan's open call.
我觉得很重要的应该是说，台湾的设计力在国际上能够被看见，而不只是一直在对内做出一个输出。
More than 50 teams are showcasing local designs, such as these mechanical flowers, inspired by a type of flower that only grows in the extreme climes of Nanhu Mountain on Taiwan's east coast. It's seen as a symbol of the country's resilience. Materials frequently used here in Taiwan are also on display, including some that can't be found in other parts of the world. The east of Taiwan is rich in this mineral, serpentine, and it's often used to make vintage-style furniture. And most of these works are made by teams of fewer than 9 people.
在小编制的团队里面，每一个 founder 都可以贯彻自己的 spirit、自己的意念，然后做出很多不一样的，除了自己的核心的业务以外，做非常多 crossover， 然后做很多实验性的尝试。
Countries can only become members of World Design Weeks after they've held their own Design Week for 3 years in a row. As this is Taiwan's first year, organizers hope they can keep up the momentum to officially join the international design community. Devon Tsai and Yu Jinhuang for TaiwanPlus.
Super Marvel, an orchestra for people with autism, is delighting crowds in Taiwan. Reese Ayers has the story.
Pulling strings alongside a famous folk artist, the violin is just one of Wang Rongjian's many musical talents.
我会拉二胡、拉小提琴，还会吹单簧管。
Rongjian is neurodiverse and is on the autism spectrum. But far from being limited by his condition, Rongjian dedicated himself to learning a wide range of musical instruments, and after graduating from university, helped found Super Marvel, an orchestra for artists with autism.
我希望是能够有一个乐团，让这些孩子不再是那么孤单，未来大家可以互相的扶持。
Known in Taiwan as Xing-er, or star children, people with autism spectrum conditions can have a hard time finding work. The Foundation for Autistic Children and Adults reports that less than 30% of people with autism in Taiwan are employed. The CEO of the foundation is confident that projects like Super Marvel can help remove stigmas surrounding neurodiverse people.
希望社会各界看到这些孩子在舞台上面有这样的专业的演出，也给我们更多的机会。
And after a successful live performance a few days before International Day of Persons with Disabilities on December 3rd, the musicians and their fans have high hopes for the group's future.
希望明年乐团能够到美国洛杉矶去演出。
天月一直每次演完了，他就会问。 妈妈，下一次在哪里呢？有愿望，还有期待，然后这个也是一个很好的良药。
For now, the orchestra will keep practicing to achieve their dream of performing around the world and demonstrating unity in diversity. Klein Wang and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
December 1st marks the 80th anniversary of the Cairo Declaration. the product of a 5-day summit during World War II that some say helped determine Taiwan's fate. But even today, the statement's significance remains a controversial topic here in Taiwan. Jeremy Olivier explains.
In late November 1943, at the height of the Second World War, the leaders of 3 Allied powers met in the Egyptian capital of Cairo. The topic of their discussion, the fight in the Pacific against Imperial Japan and the establishment of a post-war order in Asia. It was one of many summits between U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, but was the first and only one to include then Chinese leader Chiang Kai-shek. At that time, Chiang's Republic of China was still considered a relatively weak power. To sit alongside the world's 2 most powerful heads of state was a big step up for him.
It marks a real turning point in China's international position. The China of Chiang Kai-shek, the China of the Kuomintang, of the Nationalist Party, was essentially being treated as a full-scale war ally, not as a semi-colonial state. So it was an important moment for China to attend this conference.
The key figure behind Chiang's presence there was Roosevelt. He believed that the ROC armed forces could help tie up Japan's troops in China, allowing the U.S. to devote more resources to its war effort in Europe. Roosevelt urged Chiang to keep up the fight against Japan and supported Chiang's goal of making Taiwan, then under Japanese control, a part of the ROC after the war. At the end of the meeting in Egypt, the 3 leaders produced a statement that was broadcast to the world on December 1, 1943. It declared that Japan, once defeated, would be forced to return all the territories it had taken from China, including Taiwan, then known in the West as Formosa. To this day, historians still disagree on the significance of the Cairo Declaration to Taiwan's international status. For some, it was cut and dried.
各位熟知的1945年后期发生的这个斯大林、罗斯福跟丘吉尔他们开的这个国际会议里面，对开罗宣言并没有反对，甚至于接受开罗宣言的看法，来执行后来台湾归还中国的一个想法跟主张。
Others have questioned the declaration's legal basis, saying it was no more than a press statement put out by leaders during wartime.
The Cairo Declaration itself is very important, but it's just one stage of the war. At that time, it's just an intention rather than an actualized fact.
Critics also say the declaration violated the self-determination of the Taiwanese people, since none of them were asked whether they wanted to be put under Chinese control. But some argue there was excitement in Taiwan about ending a half-century of Japanese colonial rule. It was only later, after Chiang's government began repressing the local population, that many started turning against it. Yet another interpretation of the Cairo Declaration comes from the Chinese Communist Party. Beijing says the statement gives it sovereignty over Taiwan because it overthrew the ROC as China's governing force at the end of the Chinese Civil War. It's part of what Beijing calls its historical claims to Taiwan, which it has vowed to take by force if necessary.
台湾回归中国是2战后国际秩序的组成部分。开罗宣言白纸黑字写着，波茨坦公告清清楚楚印着。
But throughout the years, even after it became a democracy, Taiwan's position has not changed, that the Cairo Declaration gives the ROC sole sovereignty over Taiwan. 8 decades after its announcement, what the Cairo Declaration meant for Taiwan is still a hotly debated issue, but what's clear is that its place in history is important, and its content has continued to influence international relations in Asia in the years since. Devin Tai, Klein Wang, Sam Hui, Ed Moon, and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching today's What's Up Taiwan. Before we go, check out these newly born white lion cubs in Venezuela. I'm Ethan. Take care, and I'll see you next time.